Hey, welcome back to Crimes and Closets. This is Beth coming at you from my closet in North Carolina.
Hey, this is Christy in my closet in St. Louis. What's up, Beth?
She's looking at me funny because I lied. I am not
Yeah.
in a closet in North Carolina.
Because it doesn't look like your closet, the usual
No, I'm
background.
in a kitchen in West Virginia. I'm in my mama's kitchen.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. I came home to visit my family in the mountains of West Virginia, and it's really cold here. It's really, really cold. It's colder than I like to
Oh, is
be.
it? Hmm.
It's so
Colder
cold.
than home, like than usual?
Yeah, the high today was 37 degrees.
Ugh.
My mom's want to go places. I was like, not today. Today, when it's 37 degrees, I stay in my pajamas. Me and my
Mm.
daughter, we declared it. We declared it. We were like, today we are wearing our PJs. We did go places, though. We got dragged out of the house. It's fine.
That's funny. And Wi-Fi is gonna hold up out there.
Right? I've been very worried because it is a little iffy, but my kids have been doing school here
Oh,
all
right.
week, and so that's gone okay. And so we're gonna see about that.
Okay.
So if I start sound a little garbly,
Yeah.
just fast forward a little bit. It'll come back. Don't worry.
I'll try not to like talk over you in case it's like one of those delayed. I'll
Okay,
be
good.
like, I'll raise my hand. I'll raise my hand so you know if I have a question.
That's good. That's. Did you learn that from your kids?
Actually, funny story.
Could you
Just
unmute?
earlier,
Could you unmute, please?
please, Langdon, do you have a question? Just before I came down to record. We were sitting in the living room, and we've been trying to really instill with the kids that when mom and dad are talking, like you need to just wait because they
Yeah,
just
don't
like
interrupt.
bust up in the middle of the two of us, like literally physically will be in the middle of the two of us and like trying to show something to one of us. And we're like,
Yeah.
we're literally having a conversation right now. Like, stop. And so they're slowly getting it, but they'll never be good at it. But anyway, my
Don't
littlest,
ever be respectful, people.
my littlest is sitting on the couch next to me. I'm sitting on one couch and my husband's sitting on the other couch across the living room and the little guy's sitting next to me. And I'm talking to my husband, so I'm looking at him and I keep getting this like Emery just keeps like pointing over next to me and I'm like, but I'm talking to you, so I don't want to look next to me right now because I don't care what's happening next to me right now. And I finally look over and he's just sitting there with his hand up.
Aw, there you go. See? See, it
It's like,
pays
okay.
off. Persistence pays. That's
Anyway,
good. I need to instill the hand raising in my
yeah.
house. And then I'm gonna do the teacher thing and be like, not right now.
Not
Not
right
right
now.
now.
Put
It's
your
not
hand
time
up.
for questions right now. Unless you have to pee. Not right
Yeah.
now, okay? Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
Full on kindergarten teacher.
yes.
Well, the fun thing about this week is because I am in West Virginia, I am doing a West Virginia case.
Oh,
Well,
yay.
actually, not only a West Virginia case, but this is actually from the town that I grew up in.
Oh, wow. Real
And
close.
happened at my school, at my college, Marshall
Ah,
University.
dang it. I wish I was wearing my new Marshall shirt or
I
sweatshirt that I have.
know. Marshall University is a town located in Huntington, West Virginia. If you don't know, it's been made famous by being fabulous and also by Matthew McConaughey in the movie We Are Marshall. Okay, something else that's crazy about this case too is I have two sisters, right? Two older sisters, one of which recommended this case, whose name is Laura. So
Oh,
shout out.
yes.
The other one's name is Leah, and Leah is the name of the victim. So both
Ah.
of my sisters and my hometown and my college and Matthew McConaughey are involved in this case. Not really Matthew McConaughey, but
Just trying to get my attention.
I was just trying to get everybody a pretty picture before I start talking about this. Okay. So this case is unsolved, which I've never done before, but I'm very excited about. And there are lots of rumors and theories about it, some of which I'll get into, some of which hit home with people and places that I like personally know. But we'll get to those. But for now, this is the story of Leah Hickman.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Leah Hickman was born in November of 1986 in Leon, West Virginia. Leon is in Mason County, which is right on the Ohio River and is really close to the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So you may have heard of Point Pleasant. That's where like the Legend of the Mothman was.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Terrible movie, by the way. Okay. So she was an only child, very adored by her parents, Ronald and Sherry. She was a really good girl. She was very loving. She was extremely close to her parents. She liked music and dancing. She went to a Christian school, like all the way through K through 12, and that was in Point Pleasant. And she played the trumpet in the band and sang in the choir. Super cute. She had dark curly hair and blue eyes. Dark curly hair and like bright blue eyes. Isn't that the best combination?
Yes.
Like dark hair and blue eyes, I think is really bombshell. Okay, so she graduated high school in 2005, and that fall she left home and moved about an hour away to Huntington, West Virginia to attend Marshall University. Go Herd. She majored in journalism and had dreams of being a TV news reporter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so she didn't want to live on campus. And her older half-sister, so she has a half-sister named Jessica Vickers, and she just so happened to be living in Huntington in an apartment. And at that time, she was living with her boyfriend, but her boyfriend had just recently been deployed to Iraq. He was in the army. And so her boyfriend was not currently there. So Leah moved in. So it's fall 2005. She moves in with her half-sister, Jessica. She was a really good student. She had a lot of friends. She had like one of those cute little bedazzled flip phones.
Oh my gosh.
She had a MySpace that she was really active on. And she drove a yellow Chevy Cavalier.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I'm not even done.
Okay.
She also worked at Sears, and then after she left Sears, she got a job at Dress Barn.
Dress Barn. It's my mom's favorite place, or at least it used to be.
Well, okay. Have you ever heard like more time capsule of information in your entire life?
No.
Bedazzled flip phone, MySpace, yellow Chevy Cavalier, Dress Barn. So like,
yeah. Guess
Guess what year this was? If you haven't, it's 2007. It's all 2007.
So just random last night because of the show This Is Us, and they were talking about MySpace, and Emery was like, isn't this like based on today? So why are they talking about MySpace? Well, MySpace still like there's still MySpace.
Oh yeah.
And we had no idea. We like looked it up. I'm like, oh, it's still there. I don't know how many people use it, but it's still there. But yes, crazy that MySpace is actually
I probably have one.
Well, I know I have one, but I haven't looked at it.
We should friend each other.
I'm totally gonna try and hack in because I still have my old email that I can be like, forgot my password.
Oh yeah, mine's probably my old email. So funny. Okay, so here we are. Now that we've set the scene, this is December of 2007. So at this time, Leah was a junior in college, and school had just ended for the like fall semester, I guess. Okay. And it was Friday, December 14th. That's my husband's birthday, by the way. Okay. So Leah had just gotten her grades, and she was super excited at how well she had done and how her semester had ended up. And that following day, on Saturday, she was planning to go back to Point Pleasant to her parents and to like spend the holidays with them. So she was going to go back home for a couple weeks. So her and Jessica, the sister that she lived with, went to the mall, probably to do some last minute Christmas shopping because Amazon wasn't a thing in 2007. And then they parted ways because Jessica had to go to work. So Leah went home, and like during her drive home and when she got home, she actually called both of her parents separately. And she told them about her grades and how she was excited and that she was looking forward to seeing them. And then she started packing her clothes for the next couple weeks and then cleaning the apartment a little bit. So Jessica came home from work on her lunch break at 3:30 to grab some things. So by this time in 2007, Jessica and the boyfriend that was in the army had broken up a few months before this time, before December of 2007. And she was dating a new boy. And that night, she had planned to stay the night with the boyfriend, the new boyfriend. So she came home to get her stuff on her lunch break. She saw Leah. Leah was finishing up packing and she was doing dishes. And Jessica said, I'm just grabbing my stuff. I'm heading, just my boyfriend's after work. Have a great trip, home, whatever. See you later. She said she left about 4:00. And she said at that time that, everything was perfectly normal. Like I said, she was packing. Leah was packing. She was doing dishes. They said bye, whatever. Around 5:30 that evening, Leah called a friend. And she just chatted with her friend, telling her what her plans were, talking about whatever. And then she was like, I'm starving. I'm heading to McDonald's to get something to eat. So the McDonald's that was about 5 or 6 minutes away from her apartment. Okay, so she hung up the phone, going to McDonald's, see you later. So later that night, Leah's mom tried to call her again, but she got her voicemail. So then a couple of her friends were trying to call her as well. Like, what are you doing? It's Friday night. You're leaving tomorrow. Nobody could get a hold of her, and everyone got her voicemail. So a couple of them just left her some messages thinking that she'd call back in the morning, but she didn't. So the next morning, December 15th, her mom tried calling her again, and she got that automated message that her voicemail box was full.
Oh, gosh. Uh-oh.
So this is very odd, right? She always had this cell phone with her on her hip. It's not like her to not answer the phone, first of all, but definitely she returns phone calls, especially to her mom. So her mom was very worried about this. So she called Jessica, the sister, and said, where's Leah? Have you seen her? And Jessica, remember, had stayed the night with her boyfriend that night. So she wasn't home. So she left and went back to the apartment to find Leah, to see if she could find her. So she got there at about 1:00 in the afternoon, and Leah wasn't there. The bags that she had packed the night before to take to her parents' house were still there. Her car, the yellow Chevy Cavalier, was still parked in front of the house on the street. Her purse, her keys, and her coat were all inside the apartment. Or at least there was like her purse, her keys, and a coat beside it. She had other coats, but there was a coat like with them. She also found a McDonald's receipt and wrappers.
So she made it to McDonald's.
It does seem like she made it to McDonald's and made it home and ate. But there was no Leah. There's nothing out of the ordinary, according to the stepsister or the half-sister in the apartment, except for that the back door of the apartment was like slightly ajar. So it wasn't open, but it wasn't closed all the way. So immediately everybody starts to worry about where Leah is. But they're like, well, she's a busy college student. Somebody has to know where she is. Let's try not to freak out yet. Right? So her sister, Jessica, posted a message on her MySpace page that said, quote, "Oh, where are you, sister?"
What? Why?
I think that's weird too. I don't know. I mean, I understand why she posted to her MySpace because like she can't get a hold of her. So she's like, well, she's on MySpace all the time. Oh, sister, where are you? Whatever. But it's a weird message. I don't know if that's like some silly way that they used to talk to each other. I mean, I call my sister all the time. Like we're all the time like, hey, sister,
Right.
So I don't know. It just sounds funny, I guess, in the context of it. Okay, so Leah was due at work that day, that Saturday at 5 o'clock at the dress barn. But guess what?
She didn't show up.
She didn't show up and she didn't call in. So at this point, her family is super worried. So they're calling all of her friends, seeing if they can get a hold of her, seeing if anybody's seen her, who's the last person that talked to her. And they figure out that nobody has talked to her since that 5:30 call on Friday when she said she was going to McDonald's. So we know she went to McDonald's. We know she made it back home. We know she ate, but we don't know what happened after that.
Mm-hmm.
So her family's like, okay, where is Leah? So they call the Huntington Police Department, her mom does, and reports her missing. At the same time that the police start like searching for her, the family also is printing posters. They're posting to social media. They're passing out flyers. They're asking around the campus at Marshall, asking them around the town. I mean, they kind of take to the streets and fan out to see if they can figure out where she is. Super hopeful that she's around somewhere and, sleeping something off or whatever. So the police come, they search the apartment. They found no forced entry, no signs of foul play. They did take note of the back door being ajar, and Jessica said that sometimes they leave that door unlocked when they're doing laundry because it's the closest. There's a common laundry room in the basement of the apartment, and so it's the closest door to it. So if they're doing laundry, they're going in and out that back door. And so I don't know if maybe she was saying that she was packing, leaving town. So maybe there's a possibility she was doing laundry. It's not weird that the door's unlocked. The police did bring in dogs, and the dogs picked up Leah's scent and followed it to the driveway, but then it disappeared. And the driveway of this house is in the back of the house. So if you're parking in front of the house, you're parking on a street. But if you go around the house to the side, there's a driveway in the back. I'll post pictures of it. But so that's where the driveway is.
Okay. Question about the back door. Is the back door, does it have access to the different apartments in this building, or is it just the access to the laundry room?
It's not access to the laundry room. It's access to outside. So you actually have to walk out the back door. The way that these apartments is like you walk in one middle door and then there's apartments.
Right.
Sort of like a hotel, I guess, kind of more in that way. And then you can go straight and walk out the back door, and you walk out the back door and walk around and then down into the basement.
Oh, okay. So that was okay.
Go outside and then down into the basement.
Okay. So that was kind of like the hallway. There was a front door, hallway, and then the back door. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Essentially. Yeah. And
so the dogs technically follow her scent from her apartment out that back door and into that driveway in the back. And then theoretically, if she was doing laundry, she would have walked into the basement, but they stopped in the driveway. The dogs did. Okay. So where was I? Okay.
I'm sorry.
So they got her cell phone activity, and they noted that at the 5:30 phone call to her friend on Friday, but then after that, there is absolutely no activity on her cell phone. So all of these other people that her mom had tried to call her, remember, and a couple of friends had also tried to call her, those calls did not show up on the cell phone activity. So her phone was off.
Okay.
So she has no calls in, no calls out, no texts, and no pings off any towers after that 5:30 call to her friend where she says, I'm going to McDonald's. So they also couldn't find her cell phone. It was missing.
Oh, gosh.
So so she had that, but it was off. So they interviewed the owner of the apartment who lived in Florida. They interviewed the tenants of the apartment. They did the current tenants that were there and then also any previous tenants. They interviewed them as well. They interviewed the family, the friends, the coworkers, the neighbors, maintenance workers. They interviewed delivery drivers, literally everyone they're interviewing. There is no sign of Leah. Meanwhile, her sister, Jessica, she went on the news. She was making appearances on all kinds of news outlets. She went on local news stations. She went on MSNBC a couple times. She even went on Nancy Grace.
Oh, Lord. I can't stand that woman for some reason.
Nancy stinking Grace. Okay. She's pleading for help and information. and for Leah to come back safely. So Leah's story gained a lot of national attention because she had gone out and really like screamed it and yelled it. Where is she? Who knows? And Dress Barn, where Leah worked, actually offered a $10,000 reward for anyone who had any information in her disappearance.
Oh, wow. Go Dress Barn.
Yeah.
As much as I make fun of you.
So, yes, I think they're closed. I'm not sure. But I'm going to tell you what happens next in this case right after the break.
Hello, Twisted Humans. This is the podcast where two best friends chat true crime and have a glass
or two
of wine. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Caitlin.
And this is Twisted and Uncorked.
So join us every week for Casual Tuesdays, where we release a new episode. We are now available on all platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Okay, so this brings us to December 21st, which is 1 week after Leah was last seen. A benefit concert was planned at a local bar called Marley's Doghouse. No, I've never been there.
How'd you know that was going to be my question?
And it's not there anymore because I did drive by and look. To raise money for search efforts. Before the concert started, though, the local police department said that they had an announcement. And at 9 o'clock, they held a press conference and announced that a body had been found that they believed to be 21-year-old Leah Hickman. So all of these fellow students and friends and family who were there for this concert to raise money to find missing Leah were now all there to like mourn the fact that they had found her dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the remains were positively identified as Leah. Leah was found in a crawl space in the basement of the apartment building where she lived.
What? How did the dogs not find that?
That's the first thing I said too. So remember, the basement is the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
So she was found in the basement, in that laundry room, in a crawl space in that laundry room, which was only like 18 inches wide.
Oh.
And she wasn't even like put in the crawl space. She was put in there and like pushed out of the way so that if you just opened the crawl space, you probably wouldn't have even seen her. You really would have had to have like stuck your head in there and with a light and looked. She was fully clothed and wrapped in plastic.
Oh my gosh.
The autopsy showed that she had likely been dead since December 14th, which is the last time she was seen or heard from. There was no evidence of sexual assault, and her cause of death was listed as strangulation. A memorial service was held for Leah on December 29th in Point Pleasant, and 2,000 people were in attendance.
Oh, wow.
And Dress Barn actually paid for the funeral.
Oh, wow.
I love this fact, actually, because I think it's really reflective of what kind of person she was.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, she was a really big deal to people. And her father, Ron, is quoted as saying, she left such an impression on people. Imagine if she would have gotten to live her whole life.
Mm-hmm. No kidding. Gosh.
So police at this point became really tight-lipped about the investigation. So, like, I had a ton of questions personally about it, like, what was she strangled with? Like, was it a ligature mark? Were their hands, bruising like it was hands? Like, did it seem to be like, you know what I mean? Like what? Because they can tell those things somewhat. Right. Did she have any other injuries to her body? Defensive wounds, bruises, broken bones, nothing. We don't get any of that information. They literally said nothing. What they did say was that they believe that Leah's murder was not random. They think that she either knew her murderer or that they knew her. But they definitely know that they knew the layout of the apartment building because this crawl space that she was in, nobody even knew it was there.
Oh.
Like, it was not noticeable at all. The police repeatedly, and still to this day say, that they have people, a person or people, in mind, but that they lacked the evidence to pursue any leads.
But they won't say who these suspects are.
No, they can't say who the suspects are because they don't have enough evidence to say this person is a suspect. They can't name anybody as a suspect. So they did find a trace amount of DNA, which was reported in a couple places as being hair fibers, but I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what the DNA was specifically. And they sent it off for testing at more than one facility, but both times it came back inconclusive.
Oh,
it was like there just wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so weird, again, like you said, that the dogs missed her, because if she was in the laundry room, like let's say she was killed in her apartment, which would most likely, I feel like, have to have been the case because this is a busy street. Like, she lived on there. These houses are not far apart. There's constant traffic on this road. They could not have done anything to her outside her apartment or in the driveway. But if they carried her outside and out that door and into the driveway, then they would have turned her and then put her down in the basement. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, like, it's really weird. I don't know what happened. But needless to say, her case went cold. There was almost zero evidence, and no suspect was ever or has ever been named. Okay, so this is weird. In April of 2014, so this is 6.5 years from her death, someone went to the apartment building where she lived and where she was found, and all along the bottom of it, read near the basement, spray painted, "Who killed Leah Hickman?" And it was done, I mean, it was huge. It is all along the bottom of the building. I will post a picture of this. And it was done with 2 coats of white spray paint. Randomly, 6.5 years after her death. This date was not significant in any way. Right. It wasn't a birthday. It wasn't like the anniversary of it. Nothing. It was just some random day in April. There were no leads ever found on who the vandal was, but this is a really, really haunting picture. Like, I will post it because it is super creepy. And to know that, like, right there is where she was found.
Right. Yeah. Oof.
Okay. So I do have a few theories, courtesy of our friendly neighborhood sleuths out there. But I do want to say there's a ton of theories. There are I'm talking over 50 theories and probably over a dozen suspects. I'm not going to talk about all those because some of them I think are just silly. Not silly, but like they're not probable to me. So I'm not talking about it. I'm just going to do a couple. And I don't agree with these theories. I want to be very clear about that. I'm definitely not accusing anybody of any of this stuff. We don't have any confirmation from any law enforcement that any of these are even remotely possible or suspects or anything any leads that they're pursuing. This is just amateur people delving in. This is just the us's in the world that are
So, right, exactly.
Okay. So the first theory, which is interesting to me, is that it was a maintenance man.
That's what I was thinking. Maintenance man, landlord. They know the layout of.
Okay, well, the landlord lives in Florida. The person who owns it lives in Florida. So his brother and his brother's friend manage the apartment building for him. So they live locally and they manage it. And so, like, the brother, I think, is more the person who, like, gets the rent, finds tenants, does, those types of things. And then the friend was kind of like the maintenance man, from what I understand. The owner did report that there was some routine maintenance being done in the apartment building at the time. Like, they were repairing leaky faucets. There was some work being done on the hot water tank, which PS was located in the laundry room /basement. And a maintenance worker would certainly know the layout of the building, and he would also know like who Leah was, that she lived there, which apartment she lived in, and probably her comings and goings too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's there every day doing maintenance work, he's seeing her every day come in, leave, all that stuff. And, so it kind of reminds me of like that show You on Netflix.
Yeah.
Where he like creepy stalks people and knows their schedule and then accidentally runs into them or whatever. And they have absolutely no idea that they're being stalked. So he's like a Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And later, this particular maintenance worker was known to have stalked women after this. And in 2016, he actually committed suicide in a hotel room.
Oh.
So the theory is that the reason why he did that is because he thought he was going to get found out.
Couldn't live with the guilt. But so long after, and they didn't have any leads, that you'd think he would be like, I got away with it.
That's true. But her family still, even to this day, like every year or two, will go on another news outlet and get her case out there and like revived again. So like there's a real possibility that they had just gone on some local news station around that time or whatever. That's the theory. Okay.
Right. But okay. So go ahead.
You have questions about that one?
No, it wasn't a question. It was more like now they'll never, if it was him, they'll never figure it out at this point.
No, he's dead. Well, maybe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second theory is about Jessica, the sister, her ex-boyfriend. Okay, so remember back I had said in 2005 when Leah moved in with Jessica that she was living with a guy who had gotten deployed to Iraq and then they later broke up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that guy was known to be like a real Slim Shady.
Mm-hmm.
He was weird. He was a drinker. He had a temper, apparently, that was reported by multiple people. And it is reported that he and Leah never really got along.
Oh.
So apparently, when he got deployed to Iraq, he left his stuff at Jessica's apartment because he lived there, right? And Leah had recently told them, so they were storing the stuff in the basement. So like he left all of his stuff in the apartment. And was in Iraq. They broke up, and so then they put his stuff in the basement.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then Leah, it's reported that Leah had told the maintenance man, there he is again, the maintenance man, to just throw it out. Like, just throw it out. It's fine. And that the ex had found out about this, and he got really mad about it. So he was in the Army. He had just gotten home from a deployment in Iraq. He's a drinker. He probably has PTSD, and he was pissed about the breakup and pissed that they were throwing his stuff out. So the theory is that he probably still had keys to the apartment because he lived there, and he came, and this was like a retaliation thing.
Gosh.
I think that's a weird theory just because I don't know why he would kill Leah.
Right. Just because
like he would kill the
one.
girlfriend.
Right.
He would have killed the person he dated. He would have killed Jessica.
Yeah. Or the new boyfriend over Leah because he was mad that, she was dating someone else. But Leah is a stretch.
I think it's strange, but it also, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I wonder what his stuff was. Like, I've thought about that. Like, what if he had like what if that was everything he owned his whole life?
Well, yeah, I think it was kind of not great for them to say throw it away. I mean,
yeah. Like, we're done with it. Just throw it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the third theory is that Jessica killed Leah.
The half-sister?
The half-sister.
Because they got along too well and she just couldn't handle that?
Right? So she lived with her.
Mm-hmm.
She was the last person to see her alive. She is the one who reported the back door was left open. She posted that weird thing on MySpace. there were some reports from coworkers that they had been fighting and weren't getting along. Again, we can't confirm this. Her other friends and family don't report this. They say that they did get along, that they were fine. Her alibi is that she was at work and then she went straight to her boyfriend's house and stayed the night. So her boyfriend is her alibi, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Something interesting that is reported about her boyfriend is that the day Leah went missing, so that Friday, he hurt his arm to the point where he actually had to go for medical treatment.
Oh, so
he had like an
helped
arm
shove her
injury.
in there.
Yes, that's what some people think, is that Jessica killed her and he helped hide the body, or that they both killed her and they were like each other's alibis. Okay. But then Jessica went, like, she was tirelessly searching for her. She went on all these news interviews. She was passing out flyers. She went to the campus. She went all around town. Like, she was truly looking for her everywhere and was really the forefront of it, almost, is what it kind of made it sound like. Some people say that, like, in these interviews that she was given to all these news stations and stuff, that she wasn't like as emotional as they wanted her to be. But I think that's kind of silly to say that, actually, because like, for one thing, at the time when she did the interviews, Leah was just missing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't found the body, so they didn't know she was dead. And also, like, if you're going to go on a news station to try and help find your loved one, you blubbering through the interview and like crying and being emotional is not going to help. It's like, you're going to pull your stuff together to be on the news. You know what I mean? You're not going to show your emotion to like the entire country. But anyway, that's what people say. I will say that both Jessica and her boyfriend at the time were interviewed really extensively, and they were interviewed both before Leah's body was found and then again after. So it is interesting that police spent what seems to be like a ton of time interviewing the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then later says, well, we have people or a person that we think did it, but we just don't have the evidence.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of weird. So we never find out, or I couldn't find out what actually happened to the boyfriend's arm. Like, or what he said happened to it. That has not been made public. What's weird is about the sister is I just don't know what the motive is. Like, why would she have killed her?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I'm sitting here, like, racking my brain. Like, what would have been the reason?
Yeah. I will say too, and this is interesting, I've thought about this a lot, is it's weird to me that, first of all, I don't think it could be one person.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Because I just don't think that one person could have killed her in the apartment with no struggle, apparent struggle. Because remember, they said that everything looked to be okay. Wrapped her in plastic, carried her downstairs, put her in this crawl space quickly enough. If it was one person, that is going to take a long time to do all of that. And nobody saw them.
That's what I was going to say. How did nobody see them carry this body out of the back door? And I mean, is it that quick of a...
No, I don't think so. I think it's weird that they weren't seen. But I mean, if it was the middle of the night, I guess, I don't know.
No, true. That's true.
You know,
because they could have waited and done it. Yeah.
Right. So it had to have been two people, in my opinion. But I also think then, to that same point, if there's two people, how did not one of those two people in all that not leave evidence?
Well, if it's the sister and the boyfriend, their DNA is going to be all over that apartment anyway.
True. But how did they not leave evidence on her?
Well, yeah.
If they strangle her, wrap her in plastic, carry her down to the basement, like, how is that possible? Even if both of them didn't leave evidence, how is it possible that not one of them it did? It had to have been two people.
Right. I just don't know how anybody, even if it's one person, didn't leave any DNA. Like, How do you do all
exactly.
of that and like wipe that clean?
Exactly. So
Did
weird.
you each fold on the plastic wipe everything down? Or well, clearly you're wearing gloves, but
Gloves, yeah.
not one hair dropped from your head in this process. Like,
Yeah, exactly. There's also some people that I saw on some websites too, going back to the sister and the boyfriend, that apparently a place where he worked sells this type of plastic or like
Yeah.
a similar plastic or whatever.
Hmm.
Like he would have had to have bought it. That would have been very premeditated. It wouldn't have been a situation where his girlfriend called him and was like, I just killed my sister. What you got? And he was like, let me run to my work real quick. Like, I don't know.
Right, yes. Yeah.
Just
Somebody
weird.
would have known. Yeah.
So because I am in the same town that all of this occurred, I went to the apartment building in Huntington where Leah lived, and I took pictures of it. I took pictures of the front of it. I took pictures of the side of it. I took pictures of the driveway and the back door. So check out social media this week because I'm going to post all these pictures, and I'm going to post the picture of the spray paint thing.
Mhm.
That's very disturbing to me. And also, you can rent this apartment. You can rent an apartment in this building for a reasonable $675 a month.
Wow. Well, hey. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to live there knowing what happened there.
Never.
But
Literally never.
like it's like we think it's fun to go and take a quick photo. I
I
don't think
actually
wanna
was
live there.
really disturbed doing that
Yeah.
because I was like, do you smile? Because it's not like a, ooh, selfie. Dead girl was here.
Like I was outside of Gacy's house.
Yes, that's what it reminded me of. It's like very awkward. I don't recommend doing it, but I did it for y'all.
Although I do feel like that, like your thing is different. I mean, we I don't know. It's a little different. Like Gacy is like long gone, and like it was so
Right.
long ago that I feel like it's even though horrific things happen and it doesn't change just because it was long ago that they were horrific, but it was like I don't know, just a little like people like
You can
geek out on
disconnect
like
a little more.
yeah. Anyway, but this being 2007, did you say? Like
Yeah, exactly. So I'll
Yeah.
post the information if you have any information on this case for Leah Hickman. You can contact the Huntington PD and I'll put all the information in there. But really do check out social media because I think it's going to be, I'm super into it because I personally took these photographs.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, awesome.
P.S. They also look exactly like the ones on Google, but that's fine. They weren't. They're
whatever,
mine.
you took them.
I totally did.
You can put copyright
That's
Beth Gordon on
the
it.
story of Leah Hickman.
Wow.
So thanks
Well,
to my sister for recommending this local case.
Yes. Thanks, Laura. Wish
And I
you
really wish that Marley's doghouse was still open so I could go and like toast to one day finding Leah's killer. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Pour one out for your homie.
Yep, exactly. Aw. Yes. Terrible sad case.
It's too bad that Laura couldn't join you as a guest.
I texted her. She's super lame, whatever. She is very close to me right now, just up the road.
Laura, how many times do you get a chance to be a guest on a podcast?
I'll take a picture with her though while I'm here. She has a lot of merch, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, gosh, thanks for that story. I mean, you know me and the unsolved stuff.
I know. It was
I
fun,
like it.
actually. I really liked all these crazy theories.
Well, and that's the other thing. You could literally go down a rabbit hole in these cases, but then you can go down a totally separate rabbit hole looking at the theories of these sleuths that are out there.
Yeah.
And
We love
some
you,
of them
sleuths.
we do love you sleuths. Some of them are entertaining and some of them are like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. That could be it. But
Yes. And if you're interested in looking at the 48 other theories that are out there on this case, feel free. You can find them. It wasn't that hard. So
I might have to do that just because it'll be fun to do instead of like research for me.
yeah. All right.
Oh gosh, that was awesome. And even more doubly awesome that you were like in the town and were able to, drive, like researching it while you're there and drive around and visit these places. And whatnot. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
High five. High five.
Virtual podcast.
But anyway, yeah. So thanks for joining us again. We are so looking forward to the rest of this second season. So if you have any case suggestions, send them our way. And you know where to find us. We are on all of the platforms. Check out our merch store. It's always up. We might surprise you with a coupon, not coupon. It's not a coupon code. What is it?
Discount code.
Discount code.
Yeah. But you got to check our
code.
social media for that. So if you're not
Yes.
following us, go do it.
Exactly. Basically, if you find us on Instagram, Crimes and Closets, there's a link there that gets you to everything. All of it. All of our podcast links, websites, merch store. Click it. Click it and come check us out. And always remember, the world is scary. People suck. Hide in your closets.